Attention!
Pensez, mon vieux.
I call on Consul of the United States.
To the tribunal, please. When Your Honors adjourned on 20 December, we were presenting the Gestapo and had referred to the use of the death vans by the Einsatz groups in the eastern occupied countries and had almost concluded that phase of the presentation. I continue reading. The Jewish workers employed by your firm are not affected by the pogrom, in parenthesis, action. As I understand, that means action. You must transfer them to their new place of work by Wednesday, 15 July 1942 at the latest. Signed by the Area Commissioner Beck, and then the stamp, the official stamp of the Area Commissioner at Rono.
Graeber.
He is a German. Graeber was a German.
Yes.
And is now in the employ of military government at Frankfurt, the United States military government. Your Honor, in that connection, there's another separate affidavit attached to this, which is a part of the same document, which I'll not attempt to read, but it has to do with the execution of some people in another area and is along the same line. And I'm not reading it because it would be cumulative, but it is a part of this same document. I now pass from that subject to the next subject. The Gestapo and SD stationed special units in prisoner of war camps for the purpose of screening out racial and political undesirables and executing those who were screened out. Attended by himself, General Reinecke, Colonel Brewer, and Muller, the head of the Gestapo. At this conference, the command to kill Soviet functionaries and communists among the Soviet prisoners of war was discussed. Muller also made some concessions as to the selection of the persons to be murdered. But according to Lahusen, the selection was left entirely to the commanders of these screening units. I refer to page 633 of the official transcript. Now I offer document 502, PS, as the next exhibit, U.S. Exhibit 486. This document is a Gestapo directive. It's 502 PS in the first document book. If you'll recall, Lahusen said this conference is in the summer of 41. Addressed to commandos of the SIPO and SD stationed in camps, and provides in part as follows, and I read from the first page of English translation. Now, if the tribunal please, our colleagues, the Soviet prosecutors, will present most of that document, and I'm only going to read enough to show that the Gestapo were the ones that took part in it from the beginning. The activation of commandos will take place in accordance with the agreement of the Chief of the Security Police and Security Service and the Supreme Command of the Armed Forces as of 16 July 1941, Enclosure 1. The commandos will work independently according to special authorization and in consequence of the general regulations given to them in the limits of the camp organizations. Naturally, the commandos will keep close contact with the camp commander and the defense officers assigned to him. The mission of the commandos is the political investigating of all camp inmates, the elimination and further treatment, A, of all political, criminal, or in some way other unbearable elements among them, B, of those persons who could be used for the reconstruction of the occupied countries. Now I skip to the beginning.
Des Gerichtes dahin verstanden, dass die gegen Kaltenbrunner gerichtete Anklage zurückgestellt werden solle. Zunächst, bis Kaltenbrunner wieder verhandlungsfähig ist.
Decision which the tribunal gave before was based upon the view that the evidence could be... Are you hearing me?
Doch, höre.
The decision which the tribunal indicated before was based upon the view that the evidence could be divided between evidence which bore directly against Kaltenbrunner and evidence which bore against the organization of the Gestapo. But when you attended before us in closed session, it was explained that it was impossible to do that, and that the evidence was so inextricably mingled that it was impossible to direct the evidence solely to the organization and not to include it against Kaltenbrunner. And accordingly, the tribunal decided that they would go on with the evidence which the prosecution desired to present in its entirety, but that they would give you the opportunity of cross-examining any witnesses which might be called at a later date. And of course, you will, in addition to that, have the fullest opportunity of dealing with any documentary evidence which bears against Kaltenbrunner when the time comes for you to present the defense on behalf of Kaltenbrunner. Do you follow that? You will have the opportunity of cross-examining any witness who is called this afternoon or tomorrow at a later date, a date which will be convenient to yourself. And in addition, with reference to any oral evidence, such as is now being presented by counsel for the United States, you will have full opportunity at a future date of dealing with that evidence in any way that it seems right to you to do.
Ja, vielleicht nur noch eins. Das Missverständnis, dem ich unterlegen bin, beruht offenbar darauf, dass ich der Auffassung war, es würde nunmehr eine Vernehmung von Zeugen folgen, während ich jetzt erfahre, dass das Beweismaterial, also ein größerer Komplex, vorgelegt wird. Wenn ich aber höre, dass das Gericht auch das Beweismaterial zulässt als Gesamtes, dann werde ich mich dieser Entscheidung beugen müssen.